to the House of War. Today on Breaking Chains, we are at the home of Doctors John and Lisa Maskill, and we're going to be talking to them. And I want to explain that John is an orthopedic surgeon, and Lisa is also an orthopedic surgeon, pediatric orthopedic surgeon. And so, John, today I want you to tell us maybe one of your favorite memories from traveling with us for medical trips.
All righty. Well, I have been on now 2 trips, and I have not been on the main circle tour, but I've been on the medical ones. And so it's a little bit of a smaller group. And first of all, I will just say that I just love those trips, and we just have so much fun. It is a small group, and so you end up really getting to know those people after the end of the couple weeks. But I think probably the most profound thing that if you're asking me my favorite memory, would be we were in Africa, and I remember Phil being sore throughout the day. In fact, we had gone to one of the stores that Women at Risk and Phil's group was building, and Phil was just not right. He wasn't himself. And so anyways, we were watching him, and I just remember being there that night and seeing Phil just all of a sudden, he just came in, and he was like absolutely in dire straits. I mean, he was horribly miserable. So we took him to his room, and
we had to carry him up.
We had to
4 flights of steps
all the way up. And it was a matter of, okay, now he's had a previous history of kidney stones. And so basically we had to come up with, what are we going to do? How is this, we have all this stuff that we have to do. And so I just remember we prayed about this, and we went and, I said, well, hey, I've got my medical license. Nobody's going to actually go out and give me narcotics, but that is a great thing to use to get through a kidney stone. So I went and conversed with my father, who was also there with me, who was primary care, because you're exactly right thinking that an orthopedic surgeon shouldn't be managing a kidney stone. However, we had some other smart people there, and I had the guts to actually leave and go get the medication. So
late at night, you guys drove all over this town. There was no hospital in town.
There was this one guy, our driver.
Yep.
He took us, and I talked to this manager at the hotel, and I said, okay, I need to get to this pharmacy. Is there anything open yet? And he said, if you go down to this one road, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, we go down there, and lo and behold, I'm like, man, there's like construction at the end of this thing. And now keep in mind, I had everybody praying for me. And I was like out in the middle of Africa, in the middle of nowhere, with this one driver. And so I'm like, well, just keep going. He said it was down this way. So we kept going. Right at that spot that there was all this construction was the pharmacy. So I get out of there, I run in there, and I ask him, for these medications, in addition to this narcotic, I wanted morphine. And I'm like, hey, listen, man, I'm a doctor. I know I'm from the United States. I've got a DEA license. Here's a picture of it. And the guy started asking me all these questions about how to manage a kidney stone, and was I
to see
legit?
If you were for real.
Yeah. If I was legitimate. And so he
Good
said,
thing they were
okay.
praying.
Yeah. And so he's like, he took a picture of my medical license and gave me all this medication, gave me all these narcotics and all the shots to do everything with. So we get in the car, we go back, and I walk up there, and lo and behold, I mean, it was just crazy that we were able to get these medications. So We get Phil comfortable.
Well, he was screaming into a pillow so that nobody would hear him. And I was going, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I mean, Phil and I, we have had typhoid at the same time overseas, raising 4 kids. We've never, I've never experienced anything like that. And after you gave him a shot of morphine, he was like, yes, morphine is my new best friend.
So we made sure we got him all dialed in, we got him buttoned in, and I said, Becky, okay, he's gonna be knocked out, whatever. If you have any issues at all, call me, text me. And I was across this this green space area, and I was in another building. And so anyways, I go back and I'm just in my room, and I, go to bed at night, and all of a sudden I wake up to my phone ringing. So I answer the phone, and this English lady's like, sir, your people, there's a lady here, she needs you. And so I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's weird, that's Becky. So, I hop out of bed, it's like 5:55 in the morning, I hop out of bed and I go get dressed, and then I'm like, wait a second, that is so weird. Why in the world would she have this front desk call me? Like, why didn't you just text me? So I look at my phone, no text. So I'm like, all right, whatever, this is weird. I got called, so I walk out, and as I'm walking out, I go up to the front desk, and there is not a soul there, not a soul. And this was an outside campus, so I'm looking out into the parking lot, and I see these guys. I'm just like, this is just creepy. Someone called me, and they want to kidnap me. I'm gonna be heading someplace.
I've seen this on the movies.
I know, right? So anyways, I end up just being like, well, I'm gonna bail on this idea. I'm gonna go back, and I looked up, and I look up at Becky and Phil's room, and lights out. So I'm like, well, I guess I'll just walk up there and just check in, see how they're doing, make sure it's fine. So I walk up there, and I knock, and I literally hear them talking in the room, and then I open the door, and I'm like, Becky, I just got this random call.
And you're like, you called me. You said you called me. I said, I most certainly did not. Our phone doesn't work in the room, and I had just walked to the door. I was going to try and find you, but I had no idea at 5 in the morning how to find you in this hotel. And I opened the door, and you're standing right there, and I freaked out like, what? And you're like, I have morphine. And I'm like, yes, you're our new best friend.
Because Phil
yes.
had woken up, and he was starting
yes.
to get painful.
And he's like, do something, Beck, do something. I don't know what to do.
And that was the craziest thing, because the instant that I said that, you were like, that wasn't me that called you, that was an angel that called you, it was an angel. And here I was it was so strange that it was just scary. It was scary strange.
Well, the next morning we asked the hotel, and they insisted that they hadn't made that phone call.
Yeah, they had nobody even working up in there.
No,
front
and
desk.
so it was just bizarre. But there we were, and you think of all the places in the world we've traveled, and where we don't have any resources. And that trip, we happened to have 3 doctors with us. And thanks to you, you got on that big bus with one guy, and you drove all over that town until you found medicine.
I'm getting it. I am getting these medications.
Yeah.
So that was something that was really, a moment that you will never, ever forget in your spiritual life ever. Because when you pointed that out, my fear went from fear to, wow, did I just get contacted by a heavenly being? It was crazy.
We still to this day don't know who has an African accent with English that's a female voice in the middle of Africa.
At just the right time.
Yep. Lisa, you just went on Circle Tour. What's a memory you have from Circle Tour? It wasn't a medical trip, but it was the other year that we do just a larger Circle Tour. What memory do you have from that?
Well, that was my first time going on a Circle Tour, and that was a really special trip for me because I got to go with my mother-in-law, which most people would say, oh my goodness, you travel with your in-laws. And I hit the in-law jackpot, as you know, my mother-in-law. but that was a really special time where I got to bond with her and work beside her and alongside her. So that was very special to me. But it was also a time when I got to meet with a lot of the partners that I had never met before, and seeing these women that are putting their life on the line every day and just working all day, all night, just pouring their heart into these situations that we can't even imagine was, it was just amazing to see. And I think it really helped reinforce my support for this organization and just deepen my commitment to the organization. And really it helped to put a face with these names of these programs and these people that we think about and that we pray for. And it just encouraged me in a lot of ways to deepen my faith and to commit to pray for them. So I really just appreciated meeting the people.
One of the things that one of our board members who went on a circle tour said is, I am an eyewitness that what we do really works. And I thought, what a profound statement that is, because in our culture, you know, an eyewitness, that's a legal term, right? And you can hear about it, but when you see it and you live it and you experience it and you're involved in that person's life, it really changes things, because you see it for yourself. It's not me telling the story anymore. You come away with your own stories. I want to ask you a question, John. And so I brought some cards here, because I know that you may be a surgeon, but you're really a youth pastor that happens to be a doctor. And when you chopped my knee, you cut my leg off and you screwed it back on and gave me a new metal knee.
I did.
I heard you laughing all the way down the hallway.
One time he said, my daughter is the loudest human being he's ever seen. And I said, do you hear yourself? Like, where do you think she gets it? Hi, pot, meet kettle.
What can I say?
So I have a question for you with these war cards, because they're so much fun. If you were a professional wrestler, what would your stage name be?
Dad, since you're a professional wrestler.
Oh man, I could never, ever in my life picture myself in that position.
Just get a wild name.
Yep. I would probably say Johnny Nunu Nut, because that was my nickname growing up.
Wow, awesome. Okay, now Lisa, you get to describe a strange or peculiar habit that he has.
Oh, it's a
A
habit.
habit.
Be nice.
We don't want to do marriage counseling.
I know, right?
Oh boy. No, I can't think of a habit.
While you think of that, I'm going to ask him another question.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Where do you go and what do you do when you are really angry?
When I'm really angry, what do I do? I have learned to just go inside. And like, only because in the operating room, for example, you can't go outside.
Absolutely.
In other words, you can't explode.
Right.
But it's like, I've had nurses tell me, okay, it's just so, like, this tension is so thick, but there's nothing being said. So I just have to, like, try and, I'm best if I just don't say words.
I think because I grew up in a doctor's home, I understand, because when you go to work in a profession, you have to leave your personal life behind, right? Because people's lives depend on it. And so, yeah. What do you do, Lisa, when you're really angry?
I think I actually tend to do the same thing. I get pretty quiet and start cleaning, I think.
Yeah.
But her words are actually constructive when she's mad.
Ah.
Sometimes.
I mean, she's the administrator for sure. She's the administrator. If I start leaking out some words, they tend to be destructive. But I mean, that's why I'm like, I'm just better off if I just stay inside. Yeah. But you're very good at that. You're very good.
Thank you.
So, John, who are you most like, your mom or your dad? Why or why not?
Personality-wise? Personality, my mom.
Totally.
I would say, yeah, I mean, we just, I don't want to say this not about my father, but like my mom and I love people and love a lot of, we just, you know, like a lot of the same types of relationships, fun.
Adventure.
I love adventure. I love fun. And I just like a lot of people.
Which is interesting because you look like your dad. You have a similar profession to your dad. Your hobbies are the same as your father.
Yeah, I love my dad.
Yeah.
But you're really like your mom.
But your mom and you, when we're on trips with you, medical trips, and she's usually the last person that they see, that's like the best person in the world to see last because she is so incredibly nurturing and
Yes.
wonderful. But when you two are in a car, everybody wants to be in the car with you because you're fun.
Well, I do like to bring the party, that's for sure.
Yes, you do. So this is your last question, then we'll move on. But I'm just trying to pull some laughter out of
I
you
love it.
because it makes my heart sing when I hear you laugh. If you were a crayon, what color would you be? And why?
I would definitely be a bright one. I would probably say a really good, like, electric blue. I love blue and it's bright. I just like, I don't like dark.
Okay. How about you, Lise? What color do you think she is, John?
Oh boy. I
She's
think
setting you up.
I would put her, this is gonna be a good answer. I would put her as a good flesh tone color, nude color. She's just right in the middle. She's just always this.
Level-headed.
She's just always that.
What color were
See,
you?
I would have said black.
Ah.
Yeah.
Stable.
Well, stable, but more. I just always kind of. I usually say I'm just a boring gray square, but really things are pretty black and white to me, and I think black is. I like contrast, and I feel like it's very defining.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll say
Well,
black,
and
but-
black is a deep color, and you're a deep personality. There's
And
a
it
lot
goes with
more there
everything.
than meets the eye. Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. I think, and you are a board member on a board of directors, and you bring that to that table, that depth of thought and insight, and you're not assertive like John, but yet when you open your mouth, like you said, when she speaks, you listen, right?
Right.
Yeah, there's wisdom there. And you do have a perspective that's wise. So what is just one thing that you would like to share with the War family as anything, whatever you think is important? If you wanted them to know one thing about the work of Women at Risk International, what one thing would you want them to know? Either of you.
I think the thing that has impacted me the most about Women at Risk is, we've been supporting you guys for a long time. And then I started getting involved myself, like physically involved. And the one thing that I think is fascinating about going on these trips, and I've been on countless mission trips, is that these trips that we're going on are so multifaceted, and there is people doing things around the clock. I've never seen anything like it. Like, so many, gives me chills thinking about it because there's so much being done in such a small amount of time. And here I think I'm a doctor. I think I've got a really big role, and I'm like, wow, my role is minuscule. I'm here to minister to these women for, a few minutes of their day. But I'm like only a fraction of what's going on. And so I just see the incredible expanse of everything and all the work that goes into it. And it's, to me, it's just an organization that is like, I know that everything I put into it physically, monetarily, is going to go directly to these people. And there is like no laying around. There is no, I mean, it's all work. And there's so much work being done, and there's so much work that has to be done. And Women at Risk is cutting through some of that darkness. And it's just crazy for me to see that. I mean, you know, I always pride myself that I work really hard as a surgeon, but like on these trips, it's like, it's brutal.
Yeah.
In a good way. It's like, and I'm just really, really impressed by the organization for that.
Remember the woman with the face slashed?
Yeah.
And we were sitting in that living room, and that woman was going around calming everybody because they were crying, waiting to go upstairs to see you and your dad, 2 doctors. And they wept when we left because they said, you know what, people come to our country all the time, but they always go to the big organizations. You came to us little people. And that girl had had her face slashed, and she was sitting there crying with joy because 2 American doctors would come all the way there to take care of her. And I'll never forget that. I had to keep leaving the room because I wanted to cry with her, but that was precious. How about you, Lise?
I think as we've gotten to work with war more, I am continuously impressed by the depth and the variety of the projects, the people, just all of the activities that war supports. And I think a lot of people, if they aren't familiar with the organization, just assume that we work with trafficking or it's just with women or children. But the sheer number of countries that have projects that are ongoing or that have product, the women from the different countries, there's something that can speak to whatever area that God has kind of placed on your heart, or that tug that, you know, our basic ministry is the same, I think, as believers, and God calls us to work together in very similar ways, but He's given us all different desires and just things that really speak to us through our experiences. And I can guarantee anyone that there is some kind of project that could speak to an individual's heart in Women at Risk.
On that trip, when that woman with the slashed face was waiting to be seen by you, we had jewelers sitting on the porch.
That's what I mean.
Teaching other women to make jewelry. And one of my passions was to give everybody away from their own walk of life, their own gifts, their own hobbies, their own talents, to do non-traditional, not just give money and pray. Those are important things. Obviously, it takes money to build a safe house, but to use their gifts and talents in a way to lift people's lives to dignity and worth. And so we love doing that because that gives everybody a place at the table to make a difference. We're going to take you on a visual tour of some of the pictures from our medical trip in Africa and our partners around the world. And so just enjoy some of these beautiful pictures from the beautiful lands of Women at Risk International. Amen.
Nawe yimbira wamu nawe nja kutuukayo gye ŋŋenda newankubadde ki. So may God bless you as we do this song in Jesus' name.
I'm gonna get to my destination, no matter what. He has always been there for me. I'm gonna get to my destination someday, and I will get there. No matter what, this lonely road, trying to find my way.
Well, thank you for hosting us and sharing your beautiful home here, your passion for women at risk. And Lisa picked a product, a giveaway, that she actually wears herself. She buys our jewelry when she's not busy doing orthopedic surgery on pediatrics. And so our free gift tonight that you can get is something that Dr. Lisa picked herself. And so thank you for joining us on Breaking Chains. You're going to need to hit that button, hit that subscribe button on the YouTube, share the video on Facebook and comment below it, and that's what will enter you to win Lisa's pick. So from our house, the House of War, and from Dr. Maskill's house and this beautiful place to yours, we want you to know we're here for you, and we do want to give you ways to be involved with us. So this does mean war.